doesn't make me happy that any community is going to be facing any amount of severe cuts that affect their lives. But I will second what Mr. Rosbeck said. Our staff has busted themselves over the last 6 months, and this is a really good budget in a really tough time. And it will never cease to amaze me that people have to get up and bitch and complain because we don't have to lay off 10 people. You need a brain transplant if you think that's a goal for a community. We are a service organization. That's basically what we do. Our product is service to the people who live here. So if you want lesser services, move somewhere where they don't have them. You get what you pay for. If you want to wait 45 minutes for a fire engine and have your house burned to the ground, may the force be with you. If you want the 25-minute wait for an ambulance so you can have a real heart attack, works for me. But this community has a history of trying to provide top-notch services, especially the necessary ones. And then we have people coming and saying, what about that park equipment? My kids don't dare go in the park. Okay, I'm old. I'm almost as old as some of the people in the audience. And so I don't understand the argument from people who are on fixed incomes. Mine's been fixed, let's see, 14 years now. It's a riot, Alice. Somebody else paid for your children to be able to play in a park and for your kids to go to a decent school in the past. And having been raised in this community, I know some of those people rather well, like my neighbors and my parents, who are willing to sacrifice so the same thing could happen for somebody else's. That's what community is all about. And what we're doing here is already cutting into the things that people in this community have grown to love and expect in some cases. And I'm be the last one to think we should spend money frivolously. Believe me, I have a lot of practice on not doing that. But it's not frivolous to provide decent services to people. It's why we're here. And as I said to the gentleman earlier, and Will has said, I'm no happier with the valuation on my house than most of you are. It's like so much for the lifetime investment. Oh well, if we live to be 250, we'll probably get caught up. But I can't change how the county does that. I'd like to, wouldn't we all? I don't think there's anybody in the room that wouldn't like to debate that. In the meantime, that's what we live with, unhappy as we all may be. But I, again, with Mr. Rosbeck, I thank the staff for everything that they have done this year to help us get to the point where we can keep on operating a decent place to live and do business in this kind of a time. And nobody likes higher taxes. And I know that, you know, mine are down a little bit, yahoo! But my city taxes actually went up. That's life. I live here. I would like the police to come when I have an issue, and I really would like the ambulance if somebody's having a coronary and all those things. So I'm willing to pay for it. And if it means I can't have something else in life, that's what it means. That's what it's always meant. It's just a little more right in front of us right now. We are all, even old people like me, we are all spoiled by quality of life. And for some reason, we now are in an era of an emotion that says, we shouldn't have to pay for it, it's just come to us. Well, let me know how that fairy tale turns out. But as an active part of this, I will not participate in the erosion of this community's services. I will not. And what staff has put together for us is not foolish spending at all. And they have done more than we asked them to do. So we can quit the staff bashing and like for the next 15 years it'll be really good. They do what we asked them to do, and they went beyond, as far as I'm concerned, to keep us doing what we do and to do it as well as we can and not raise taxes anymore. It's not a pleasure to raise taxes. But it is a certain pleasure to provide services to people, so this is a decent place to be. And no, I don't want to cut contingency, but I could be conned maybe a little. Maybe a little. I'm done, thanks.
Okay. Mr. Lannis.
Just very quick, Mr. Mayor. I think
I just wanted to touch on 3 quick points. First of all, I don't remember the name of the movie, but the line is, "Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old." I don't remember the name of that particular movie, but oftentimes I do have staff explaining it to me in very elementary sense, because it is a lot to absorb in a short amount of time. And thankfully, with the direction of Mr. Antonin and with the input from Mr. All and the rest of the staff, having taken the last several months to have each department come in and lay out where they have already taken a look, and really been able to cut pieces out or add special requests, has really been beneficial to us. We didn't start this process yesterday. We've been doing this since March, I believe, was the first time the issue came up. And so I think it's been good for us to look at over the last year, next year's planning. And I wanted to thank the staff for that. I think just 3 quick points. One, I think the contingency plan is like, another word is insurance. And it's only because if you take any one of those 12 things, they certainly could, at any one of them or all of them, come up as a sense of emergency that would require our attention. And Mr. All said something earlier, and that is, should we have some catastrophic need where the city's resources are being pulled in, the expense of that would be detrimental to the overall operating dollars and could have a negative impact on other areas of our budget. And so I look at it like almost like an insurance plan, if you will, for my sense, again, talking like I'm a 5-year-old. I think the pieces in there that are frightening to me, if you take any one of those, if there is an accident at the pool because an upgrade was delayed, that scares me. If you take a look at an accident with equipment that is deficient at any one of our parks, that has an impact on us. The infrastructure, like the phone system, if that goes down, that has a negative impact on the way our city does business and the way people and our residents can reach our staff. So any one of those things, I would absolutely say that I would not be in favor of any cut in the contingency plan whatsoever. I do think, to the mayor's point, that there is an agenda item on there about the Taste of Maplewood, is my second point, and that we want to talk about a resolution of support. I think in our previous workshops, a number of council members spoke about their concerns of the expenditures for the last year and 2 and 3. I would vote for a much reduced amount in the Taste of Maplewood, but still support that program in a much more refined and specific way. And I think the last piece, and this is what I'll end with, is Ms. Juniman said there's a quality of life. And we went to go shovel out my mom on Saturday morning, and we had a very difficult time navigating through the streets of St. Paul. And we got out of our residency in Maplewood, our residence in Maplewood, rather easily. And there's a number of reasons that they have snowfall requirements and things, and they have a much larger city, and I'm not bashing our sister city. I'm simply saying I'm glad that I live in Maplewood and not in St. Paul. And my mom's streets and the way she accesses her roads and the services she's used to and accustomed to, her taxes are higher, and she gets way, way, way less. And so I'm just shocked that people would say that we're living beyond our means, because I don't think there's anybody in any department that would say, gosh, I have this extra pool of money I don't even know what to do with. Nobody's talking that way. And so I would say, as my third point, that I think the quality of life that we've come to enjoy costs money, and there isn't any extra in our budget, and we're not proposing to put anything else in there like anybody else. We're all tightening our budgets, and it's really lean, very lean. Thank you.
Yes, Marv.
I didn't come on board till the latter part of August, so you guys did most of the work before you even got here. But the contingency budget, I think, if anything, is set too low. And so that money comes from Nest or something else comes back, I think that money should be rolled over into that contingency fund. And if we don't, the thing about it, the contingency fund, if we don't use that money, it rolls over to the next year, the following year's budget. It's not like we're pouring it down a rat hole. And 120, that's 122,000. That's an awfully small amount for a contingency fund for a budget this large. So I wouldn't. I'd other than the Taste of Maplewood, I think everything else should be left alone.
Okay. Sounds thus far like I'm losing a contingency battle anyway. Mr. Nephew?
Well, I'll rally to your support, Will.
Thank you.
I am looking at a list of some of the ideas as far as things that could be offsetting the levy a little bit. My concern with the contingency is that what I ultimately really just want any contingency to do is to go just into the fund balance, and I don't want it particularly to be used for exciting pet projects that go along the way. I'm concerned that we really don't have the fund balance where it needs to be. I was writing down and thinking that I was willing to do the 80,000 out of the contingency to offset the levy, as Will was talking about. But I guess my current thinking as I'm mulling this over is, well, here are the 5 things that I have written down that to my mind are, and there may be some more if we looked at some of the other areas, but these are 5 that occurred to me. The money that came back from Nest, which is one-time money. The economic development money that comes back, that's one time. To my mind, because they're not revenue sources, it's just money that we found in a mattress. The only thing to do with those is to put it in the fund balance. Because just as you find money in the mattress, you also find your mattresses have holes and you have to buy another one. And so that's where that money belongs. Now, to the extent that we would then be putting that money into the fund balance, then I'm comfortable taking the same amount of money out of what was otherwise planned as the contingency fund. And that may get some pushback from some of my colleagues, but my thinking is in part that one of the reasons that we had the contingency fund in the budget process was there was a big unknown about 2 elements. We didn't know when or at what terms we would settle the labor agreements. And although the council from back at our retreat in February made it clear that we were aiming for a 0% COLA increase, just like we had given ourselves last year, and just like we gave Mr. Antonin early this year, we didn't know if we would get that. We were going to be bargaining hard, but we didn't know. And we'll be looking at the contracts later, but real congratulations have to go to the Chucks for the work that they did, and to all of the employees of the city who really stood up and came together as a team to recognize that we're all in this together, and to accept and agree with that as a decision in this economic environment to settle with that 0% COLA. So that's really huge, and it means that money that we'd set aside for that is not going into that. The other unknown was health care, and here again we have to give a lot of congratulations, particularly to our negotiators on the management side, but also to all the employees and their labor management team representatives who developed the relationships of trust with Mr. Antonin and Mr. All and Chuck, Chuck Bethel, that we have been able to work to more economically viable health insurance arrangements. So that again was something where we could have seen a $100,000 boost in our costs that we had to set money aside for. And so I do feel that taking some money back or returning some money compared to what we planned on is appropriate, because some of those things didn't turn out as bad as we were preparing for. So Nest, economic development, Taste of Maplewood. I'm afraid I think I was fairly blunt about this when we last had it on a meeting. I feel like we've given it a run, and it hasn't worked out, and I don't like sending good money after bad. There's a point when you cut your losses and sell a stock for a loss, and I feel like we've gotten to that point with Taste of Maplewood, with lots of hard work and the best of intentions, but it's not our wheelhouse, and I don't think that we should be in it.